All right, let's dive into one of the trickiest, but honestly, one of the most rewarding clients you'll ever get, the relocated seller. If you can really nail this down, you're not just getting through a tough transaction. No, you're actually building an incredible, repeatable engine for your entire business.
And look, especially here in the Houston area, this is a huge deal. Get this, nearly 1 out of every 5 home sales involves someone moving in or out of the area. That is a massive slice of the pie. So if you're not set up to handle these clients, you're leaving a lot of business on the table. Simple as that.
So this right here, this is the heart of what we're talking about today, and I'm telling you, it is not an overstatement. A relocated seller is without a doubt the most operationally complex client you will ever manage. Why? Because they test everything you've got, your skills, your systems, your patience. The whole dynamic is it's flipped on its head.
So let's talk about the remote seller challenge. I mean, it really all comes down to one single thing. Your client isn't physically here, right? They can't be there for the showings, they can't swing by the house to see how a repair turned out, and you definitely can't have those critical face-to-face chats about pricing at their kitchen table. Everything, and I mean everything, has to be handled remotely.
And you know what? These aren't just separate little problems. They stack on top of each other. Remote communication? Well, that means you need a paper trail that's absolutely bulletproof. Your seller can't see what's going on, so your updates? That's it. That's their only view into one of the biggest investments they own. And let's be real, here in Houston, a vacant house can get interesting real fast. You've got the humidity, the bugs, the yard that grows a foot overnight. It can go from pristine to problem in no time.
Okay, so this is the key. You have to realize you're not just a real estate agent managing a property anymore. You're now managing a massive communication gap. It's like there are 2 totally different worlds. Your seller's world, where they are now, and the real-time reality of their house back here. And you're the bridge that connects those 2 worlds.
Just look at this comparison. It really spells it out. Your seller is already gone. They're mentally checked into their new life in, say, Denver or Seattle. Their idea of the Houston market, it's like a photograph, frozen in time from the day they packed the moving truck. But their house is still right here. It's vacant. It's dealing with a market that changes daily. And, our wonderful Houston humidity. They can't see any of this. So guess what? You've got to be their eyes and their ears.
All right, enough theory. Let's get into a real-world story to make this concrete. So we had this client, a petroleum engineer, who got relocated from Katy all the way to Aberdeen, Scotland for a 3-year gig. And this situation, it's basically the perfect roadmap for figuring out the problems and the solutions.
So right off the bat, we hit a massive logistical wall. A 9-hour time difference. Just let that sink in. Hey, let me give you a quick call to go over this offer. Yeah, that's not happening. For most of our workday, they were asleep. This instantly made clear, detailed, non-real-time communication absolutely essential. Email wasn't just email. It became the official record, the single source of truth for the entire deal.
So from day one, we had to pretty much throw the standard playbook out the window. The listing appointment? That was a video call. The CMA, the market analysis, it couldn't just be a bunch of numbers I'd explain in person. Nope, it had to be a complete, self-explanatory document. And literally every important conversation, every negotiation, every decision had to be put down in writing. So you might be asking, okay, how on earth do you manage all this? How do you build that crucial trust when you can't just have a quick chat? The answer is you create a lifeline. And for this client, and honestly, for every single relocated seller I've worked with since, that lifeline is a simple, structured, weekly update. Believe me, it is the most powerful tool you have.
And this isn't just a random, hey, how's it going email. The perfect update has 4 essential pieces. First, you recap all the showing activity and the feedback you got. Second, you tell them what's new in the market, any new listings that are competition, any recent sales. Third, and this is crucial, you give them a status report on the house itself from when you last walked through it. And finally, you give them clear, actionable recommendations for what to do next. See, this structure isn't an accident. It's designed to proactively answer every single question they might have, which builds trust one email at a time.
And let's talk about the value of making this a system. It's massive. Think about it. If you're trying to write these super important emails from scratch every single week, you're easily burning 45 minutes a pop. Now multiply that by a few clients. Suddenly that's hours of your life gone every week. But if you use a template, you can knock that down to 15 minutes, plus you never forget anything important, and you look like a total pro every single time. It just reinforces your value.
Okay, so let's pull back and look at the big picture here.
Once you have a system like this in place, especially for communication, something really cool happens. The complexity doesn't just vanish, it's still a tough client, but your relationship to it totally changes. It goes from being this chaotic, stressful fire drill to a structured, manageable opportunity for your business.
So this leads to the real question you should be asking for your own business. How do you take a solution like this and make it consistent? How do you turn this client, the most complex client, into a reliable, predictable, and profitable part of your business? Especially if you work in areas that are full of relocations, like Katy or the Woodlands.
The answer is surprisingly simple. You build a framework, a non-negotiable, step-by-step system that you use for every single one of these clients every single time. No exceptions. You find what works and you repeat it.
And that, my friends, is what a repeatable business model is all about. It's taking what used to be a really tough, unique, one-off situation and turning it into a workflow that's predictable, manageable, and a super valuable stream of income for your business.
So if there's one thing you take away today, it's this. A structured workflow is your absolute key to success with these clients. It's what keeps them feeling confident and in the loop. It's what keeps the deal moving forward smoothly, and it's what builds your reputation as the person to call for these tough relocations. Having a workflow tool, something like CMA Flow, that helps you manage all the little details, from the initial client intake all the way to sending those critical weekly updates, well, that's what makes the difference. It's what separates the agents who just struggle through these deals from the ones who actually build a business around them.